I was watching the results live in Washington, D.C., and I was really surprised. I am an ultimate optimist, so I thought that even though he was starting to take over the race and win, that Hillary still had a chance to win. So I also thought that um, there weren't enough people to vote for him because although there was a lot of complaints about him being racist and whatnot, I still thought that ultimately the most frightening thing about Donald Trump is that he was not qualified to do the work, which we're totally seeing now, with his crazy arguments with Australia and friends of ours. So I'm an activist by day. Like my day job, I work for a progressive organization and have worked in the progressive arena for about 10 years now as a digital activist, writing emails, giving people actions to do, writing petitions, organizing demonstrations, organizing call-ins to senators, and also reaching out to our legal community and folks who are willing to help within the legal community to offer services to other folks who may need help and maybe having their civil rights or any type of human rights violated or religious freedom violated. So just knowing the law, I think it's important for us to be empowered, and that means reading the Constitution. Mr. Khan, who was the Gold Star family parent who spoke at the Democratic National Convention, who is not a Democrat, I don't think. He held his Constitution up, and it's so important to read the Constitution and read the Declaration of Independence and know the laws not only of this country but also of your particular state, and to make sure that if you don't have money to pay for a lawyer, if your rights are being violated, that you know about free services. There are lots of organizations like CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations, that is a civil rights organization that helps Muslims who are having their civil rights violated in this country. There's the NAACP that helps all people who are fighting for human and civil rights. There's the ACLU that's been doing some incredible work and filed one of the first lawsuits against the White House with this latest executive order that was passed. And I think that, if folks are looking for things to do, they can join groups like MoveOn.org and learn about different actions and different things that are happening in their particular area, and get involved with their families, schools, and your local community, because people may be frustrated with our national leadership, but there are states like California that are doing phenomenal things, on the side of righteousness and morality and doing what's right and helping some of our brothers and sisters who are having trouble getting through after having the legal paperwork that we have granted them to come into this country, and meeting them at the airport. So, knowing your local laws and getting involved in your community is important. And if everyone is not so lucky to live in a state like California where the law is really advocating for people who are getting their rights violated, and if you are living in a place where you're struggling to be heard, continue pushing forward. Justice and righteousness and a social justice fight doesn't happen overnight. They're protracted fights, and although we've had a lot of demonstrations since Donald Trump became president, it's important for people to understand that this may be a long fight, and we have to fortify ourselves and and reach out to people, because you may have a family member or a friend or a neighbor who may not have voted the way you did in the election, but I would bet you that you may not have voted the same way, but some of the issues that concern you are probably the same. So talk to your neighbor and reach out to them, and try and find out what's important to them and speak in that manner. I think that we have to get away from the conversations between these partisan conversations and talk about our moral conversations, and what we want to do that's good and equitable for all people. I think that's what America is supposed to be about. A chance where everyone has a chance to excel. Everyone has a chance for that pursuit of happiness.